In my H2D review, I show you everything I engraved and cut. The Baltic Birch test card, the Bamboo Lab Basswood, the Poppy Slate, the painted canvas, and the projects that combined laser cutting with 3D printing. But I left out one important detail, the actual settings. So today I'm going back through those tests. I will show you the power, speed, air assist, and image setting I used, along with how I prepared each material. I will also show you some mistakes and some of those stories that never made it into the review. And stay for the lamp because I wasted 3 hours or so on one print, lost 2 wooden slats, and only discovered what happened about 3 days later. I started with the material I know best. This is 3mm Baltic Birch plywood, BBB grade, which means one face is okay, the other one is, not so much. I buy it in large sheets and it's definitely not clean showroom type plywood. Most of my sheets are warped, they have patches, repairs, and obviously very visible imperfections. They also create a lot of smoke, but this is the kind of plywood many of us actually use, and those imperfections often affect the final result. For this test, I used the same test card I previously used when comparing 10 watt, 24 watt, 40 watt, and 48 watt lasers. Using that same test gives me a familiar baseline. I opened the material test inside Bamboo Suite and used Bamboo Lab's recommended birch settings as my starting point. I built a test range around those numbers and let the machine run the cut, line, and fill sections. The complete test took about 5 minutes. The engraving was clear, and the cutting was solid. There was some smoke staining, but that was not surprising with this plywood. The larger lesson here is that the material matters just as much as the machine. I will leave the full settings on the screen so you can pause the video or take a picture. You will also find them down in the description. So that was the material I already knew. Next, I tried the material designed to work with the H2D system, Bamboo Lab Basswood. This is Bamboo Lab's 3mm basswood. You get 6 sheets in the box, and the difference in presentation here is obvious. The sheets come beautifully packaged, they're flat, clean, and have very few visible flaws. Compared with my Baltic Birch, this looks much more even and consistent. Each sheet also has a QR code. The H2D's bird's eye camera reads that code, identifies the material, and gives you Bamboo Lab's recommended settings. For this test, I decided not to make another material test grid and created a simple design using the Saverna Builds logo, the YouTube logo, and some like and subscribe text. No pressure. Then I accepted the default settings. For the Saverna Builds logo and text, I used laser fill mode. The YouTube logo was processed as a laser image in grayscale. The complete job took around 5 minutes. The logo was cleaned, the text was clear, the image looked good, and the cut completed properly. One successful test does not mean I would trust every default setting on every sheet of material. But with this sheet, the defaults worked. Now, plywood is fairly predictable compared with the next material. Several of you guys have asked me about engraving memorial stones, so I wanted to test something larger than the Slate coaster I normally use. So I chose this Slate tray and used a poppy image from Creative Fabrica. There was just a small problem. My wife was not happy about this test. Not at all. The poppy in the picture looked very similar to our neighbor's dog, and she thought I might be bringing bad juju to the poor poppy there by turning it into a memorial stone. This is not our neighbor's dog. It is a Creative Fabrica image. I promise. Links in the description. She was still not very impressed, so I don't know what to say. Before engraving, I cleaned the slate with alcohol and a clean microfiber cloth. Then I lightly sanded the surface with 220 grit sandpaper. After sanding, I cleaned it again with alcohol. Now, a new piece of slate normally does not require much material removal. I normally go very easy on the sanding. If I were reusing a previously engraved piece, I might sand it more aggressively. But listen, either way you decide to go, light or more aggressively, watch for that dust. Wear a mask if you're going a little too hard, or if you're using a sander, because you don't want to breathe the stuff anyway. To build the test grid, I started with Bamboo Suite's recommended settings for blackstone. I used the poppy's eyes as the test area because the eyes are normally one of the most detailed and important parts of an image. I tested both sides of the slate so I could avoid wasting another piece. That's just the way I do it. Just watch those little feet. Once I found the image settings I liked, I committed to the full engraving. The text needed different settings, of course. If you want to know, the font was Corinthia Regular and I used laser fill mode. The complete engraving took around 37 minutes or so. After the engraving, I cleaned the slate again with alcohol and cloth. Then I applied 2 coats of spray lacquer. The lacquer was just there mainly to improve the appearance and give the piece a more finished memorial stone look. The lacquer worked for this test very well, but it would not be my first choice for a permanent outdoor memorial. The slate obviously needed the surface preparation. The painted canvas needed preparation at almost every stage. I used an owl image that I had engraved before with another 40-watt laser. You know the one. Using the same image gave me something familiar to compare against. I already knew where the important details were, how the feathers should look, and how much contrast I wanted around the eyes. For the material, I used the same canvas panels I normally use. They are 100% cotton and very reliable. The paint was nothing special either, just my regular store-bought acrylic paint, and I buy it in white, gray, and black. I started with a white layer. Those are 2 coats, right? So after applying each coat, I wait for it to be dry to the touch. The 3rd coat is gray, and again, I let it dry. No rush. And finally, I added the black layer. Once I finish applying the black paint, I left the canvas to dry overnight. That preparation is very important. The laser settings only work properly when the paint layers are also prepared properly. If the layers are too thick, too thin, uneven, or still wet, copying my settings may not give you the same results. This time around, I prepared 2 canvases. One was for the testing, and the second one was for the final engraving. I normally test the eyes because, again, they tend to contain the most important detail in the image. I began with smaller samples. As I moved closer to the settings I liked, I increased the sample size so that I could see more detail. Then I compared the results and selected the settings for the final canvas. No matter the machine, no matter the image, I always get nervous when I'm doing these canvas engravings. I don't know why. See, you can spend hours preparing the paint layers and then ruin the entire piece very quickly with the wrong settings. The engraving took around 34 minutes, give or take. The details around the eyes and feathers came through very well. I was very happy with it. It also gave me a very strong result to compare with the same image engraved using my other 40-watt laser. Side by side, they look great. And I can tell you, I was very happy with the way the H2D handled it. I already have full tutorials covering my painted canvas process, so I will not repeat the entire method here. But the main point is that canvas results come from the combination of preparation, testing, and laser settings. So after finishing the material tests, I wanted to use those results in actual projects. Those test cards can tell you how a laser performs. A finished project tells you whether the process actually works. The clock was the simplest example. The frame was 3D printed, and the face was made from plywood. It combined printing and laser cutting without making the project unnecessarily complicated. The printed section provided the structure, while the plywood added that warm finish. It was a simple example of the 2 sides of the H2D working together. Then there was the lamp. My first shade was printed in black PLA. I honestly don't know what I was thinking. I guess I was just too excited, too eager to get going. The print completed successfully, but being black, you could barely see any light through it. So that was 3 hours of printing and about 62 grams of filament totally wasted. Listen, the printer did exactly what I asked. The material choice was the problem. So then I got a little wiser and I printed the shade again using the translucent green PLA. This time around, the light could pass through. Wow, shocker. And the color actually gave the lamp a completely different appearance. The outside of the lamp used 3mm basswood slats. So I needed 40 slats and I cut 10 slats per sheet across 4 sheets. The math was very simple. Somehow, I ended up with 38. I still had scraps from the original basswood sheets, so rather than cutting another complete sheet just for 2 small pieces, I placed the scraps back inside the H2D. Using the bird's eye camera, I positioned those 2 missing cuts directly over the clean areas of the remaining material. The H2D cut the replacement slats exactly where I needed them, and I was able to finish the lamp without wasting another sheet. At the time, I had no idea what happened to the original 2 slats. 2 or 3 days later, my daughter came into my office to do some painting. She came in with a little storage box she likes to carry around, and wouldn't you know it, there they were, my 2 missing slats. And just like that, mystery solved. Now, the storage box was a larger 3D print. It used a printed enclosure plus the drawers, and those drawers had a plywood front. I accepted the default print settings. I didn't bother with anything. The result was good for my first larger print, but it was not perfect. During assembly, I pushed a little too hard, and then I cracked the front section there, and the piece just fell off. That was my mistake 100%. It was not the printer's fault. Instead of printing the entire piece again, I just went ahead and tried to repair it. And that brings me to 2 small tools that ended up being much more useful than I expected. See, one machine doing 3D printing and laser work creates 2 different types of mess. You get filament scraps and small pieces from printing, then you get plywood dust, slate dust, smoke residue, and those small little laser cut pieces. This small cordless vacuum has become one of those tools I keep close to the H2D all the time. It is small enough to reach inside the machine, it is ready to use all the time, and it doesn't take over the shop. I tried using this larger handheld vacuums we have, but they were just too bulky to move comfortably inside the chamber there. This one works well for filament pieces, plywood dust, slate dust, small cutoffs, and general cleanup. The cordless soldering iron totally saved the storage box. I used it to repair the cracked printed part from the inside. That allowed me to keep the front clean and hide the repaired area behind the plywood face. It totally saved me from reprinting the entire section. Just like the vacuum, it is cordless, quick to grab, and easy to store. These are the kind of tools that you barely think about until something goes wrong. Then all of a sudden, they're the most useful tools on the table. FANTTIK provided the vacuum and soldering iron for testing, but they were not supplied specifically for this H2D video. They just ended up being useful during the project. I will leave all the settings information down in the description, or you can go back in the video, watch it again, and pause or take pictures. Use them as a starting point. Try to use the same material when possible, run a small test, and adjust before committing to the final piece. The review showed what the H2D could do. This video showed what it took to get those results. That includes the preparation, the test grids, the wasted filament, the cracked print, and the 2 missing slats that eventually turned up in my daughter's art box. Now, I would love to know what material or project you would like me to test next with the H2D. Let me know in the comments. And as always, I'm Alex. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.